let's get this started. Welcome to Bikram Hypnosis. Right after lunch, just what you need. Have a little bite to eat, come in a nice warm room where you can just... My name is TSWB. For those of you that don't know me, when you start coming on my Zoom meetings every Tuesday night from 6 to 8 Central, you'll hear me announce myself to be a professional problem solver, which I always follow up with, no, I don't know everything. I just have a unique way of asking lots of questions and helping people get to the answers and solutions they're looking for. Now, raise your hand if you're the handout, guides, PowerPoint, looking for all the little bullet point people. Do we have those here? Yeah, sorry. That's not me. And my squirrels have squirrels who know squirrels. So if you have questions, please ask them. Just know that there's a good chance that we're going to go off somewhere else. If you came here looking for, wondering where the wait to date protocol thing is all about, you see triple P up here. How many of you are active hypnotists, have a work in the field, whatever? Kind of. You ever get one of those protocols where you get that great download, you're like, this is awesome! And the universe is like, we're not done yet. So when I put in the title for my talk today, I didn't realize that the universe had not given me the other parts of the protocol. So now it's just triple P. And it morphs. It was perfect partner protocol, and then we started putting in stuff for, you know, your tribe, sources of income. So now I just leave it like that, and you can call it whatever fits best to you. I'm going to be going over lots of funky little things. This is, and you'll notice I'm a walker because I got to keep you guys at least get your neck exercise and all that fun stuff. We're going to dive right into it because if this is everything that I have to share with you, we've got time for about that much. So I'm going to cram in the most I can. This protocol is one of those like, I came up with it for me because at 51, I was still single and started looking back at all the amazing relationships I had. And the universe blessed me with some amazing ladies. And 80% of them married the next guy they dated. I was the preparer, apparently. But then I started looking, and I went, there's a common denominator. Oh, that would be me. Maybe I've got some schmutz I need to clean up. Yes, because this might go public. And so I worked on a lot of stuff. I was lucky enough that the universe guided me to Dr. David Snyder at a time where if somebody would have said hypnosis, I was just like most of the people would be like, are you hypnotizing me now? But I was in the right place at the right time with an open mind. And that's how I got introduced to that, and that's how you guys are here seeing me today. I work with a lot of clients, all virtual. I teach a lot of different things. Some of you may have seen me here years back. I taught audio, video, mic selection, few other protocols that I've come up with. So if you have questions, that's why I call myself a professional problem solver. Reach out. No question is really too weird. I come up with funky stuff. Those you all got a business card, picked a business card when you came in. Hold on to that because those of you that stick around to the very end, we got some fabulous prizes. And two of them are even more fabulous, I think. I'm biased. That's okay. Getting into the protocol so we can get right into it. When I deal with clients, and the universe is sending me a lot of relationship stuff lately. And after what we went through in 2020, and people actually had to be housed in the same place, tight quarters for a long time, and realized I liked you a lot when you had a job. Now, you're getting on my mind. You're getting on my space. You're getting on my nerves. And so a lot of them are coming to me, and whether it's freshly divorced or if they're just like me, where they've been like, man, I've been single way too long. Something's got to change. And so some of the tools that I come up with, one is I don't call it homework, I give it suggestions, because I remember school a little too much. Homework was not one of my favorite words, so now if I'm like, I'm going to give you some homework, and you're like, yay. Is there going to be a test? You're going to solve the test later on. So one of the things I give them is a day planner. I tell them to get a day planner, and it doesn't have to be the big desktop corporate one with pages this big, but I do want them to find a day planner that has writing space. And in those spaces, one of the things I tell them, I want you to keep it right by your bedside. At the end of the day, I want you to write down at least 3 cool things you remember from the day. What this is for is to retrain the brain to start looking at all the things that are going right, all the cool things that are around them, so they can start enjoying life more. Real quick little story on this. I had a lady come to me, freshly divorced, 2 young boys, and, you know, there's a little, oh my gosh. So I got her to doing this, and she made this part of the routine at night for her and the boys. And the boys, I believe, were 7 and 5. The 5-year-old wasn't into handwriting all that much, so he would draw little pictures. And this was their nightly routine. And after they'd been doing this for a while, one night she said she went to bed, and all of a sudden a little knock at the door. She opens it up, and it's her oldest one. And he goes, she's like, what's the matter, honey? And he goes, Mom, how come I only get to write down 3 things? And she goes, honey, you can write down as many as you want. He's like, oh, cool! And he takes off. And she said that young man sees so much cool stuff now. He's pointing it out everywhere they go. And I get goosebumps every time I tell the story, because she called me up about 2 years later and she goes, I got to share this with you. A couple days ago, somebody stole his bike. And when you're a 9-year-old boy, your bike is your bike. And this young man goes, well, I hope whoever got it will take care of it, and he has a lot of fun with it like I did. By the way, I saw a really cool owl today. She's like, he saw a really cool, he'd lost his bike. Nothing phases him. And I went, wow, rock and roll. The other thing that I put down is I teach a technique called questioning affirmations. Raise your hand if you do affirmations. What is one of your favorite, most common affirmations, Stina? I am noticing good things today. What one would? I'm happy. One more.
Wow, I do it every day. Now you're going to realize, oh God.
Oh, just the first one that popped in your head. I do amazing things. I am happy.
Life is good.
Life is good. What I found with those, most of them are I am statements. The challenge with that is the subconscious loves to find out, is this true or not true? And so what happens? I am rich, I am rich, I am rich, I am rich. And you open up your bank account and your subconscious goes, no. What a lie. What a crock of doo-doo. even if I don't know about it, to take the ego out. And with that, now the subconscious is like, oh, I got something to do. What will I be grateful for today? Hey, that, and that, and that. Now, I know a lot of this, you're like, yeah, when do we get to the dating part? All of this is setting up for mindset. What is good? What am I noticing? How can I rewrite affirmations that serve me better? Not that the other affirmations were bad, but my clients' feedback is once they started turning them into questioning affirmations, they were noticing that they were getting much more powerful results. Now on to the other two parts of suggestive homework that I give them is I get them to get themselves 3 journals. The 3 journals are my person, your king or your queen. The second journal is my tribe. And the third journal is my sources of income. The reason I have them do these is because a lot of times people who end up dating the same person in a different meat suit is a lot of their own mindset. And the My Person journal, I would love to say I came up with it. No. This came from Darren Hardy, who was the chief editor of Success Magazine. And he got it from somebody else, so it's out there in the ether. But what he did was hit me so profoundly. He was told to write down every single detail about his person as though he had known them intimately for 5 years. How tall are they? What color hair, what color eyes? Where did they grow up? In the city, in the country, in another country? What kind of car do they drive? What color is it? Is it a big 4-wheel drive pickup? Is it a Porsche 911? Is it a Tesla? What color interior? Where do they shop for food? What do they do for fun? And I always get the pushback of, well, I don't want to be too detail head, you know. What if I turn away the right person? I would rather have you end up with 80% of a detailed list than 100% of vagueness. Question?
So you're saying I'm making a detailed list of the person I want to invite into my life?
Yes, and the question was, I'm making a list of a detailed, no, it's a detailed list of your person.
Me?
No, of your king or your queen. So, can I ask you a few quick questions?
Yeah.
Your absolute perfect person, if you could just talk to the person in the universe that's in charge of all of this stuff, you would say, my person is how tall?
6
6'0".
foot. Yeah.
Okay, not 5'11", not 6'1", and that's fine. What color hair? First impression.
Blondish gray.
Blondish gray. What color eyes?
Blue.
Blue.
Brown.
No? Blue, or is it blue with brown?
Ooh, blue with brown.
See, blue with brown. Hey, now we're talking. And did your person grow up in the city, the suburbs, the country, in another country?
The country.
In the country.
Yeah.
And where do they shop for food?
Food Max or some economical place.
Food Max. The reason that I ask all these questions, where are you going to go shopping for food now, maybe, if you want to meet this 6-foot-tall, blue-brown Food Max? What kind of car does this person drive?
He probably has a pickup, and I'm not good with the Ford.
A Ford pickup, and what color is this Ford pickup?
Well, it has to be red.
It has to be red, see? Now, is it a jacked up, really big? It's a nice, straightforward, good-looking Ford. Yeah. What I'm doing here is as you start building these things up, you start understanding the persona of who that person is. And I want you, I tell my clients, keep constantly adding to this. When you read the original title of my talk today, the Wait to Date Protocol, is because I make all of my clients agree to not be in a committed relationship for 1 year. And oh, the pushback I get. What? I've been waiting to find somebody and now you want me to wait another 365 days? I'm like, yeah, I do. Because time is going to pass anyway. And do you want your king or do you want another 9? The other thing about the 1 year wait is I tell them, this isn't you sitting in your house waiting to start dating in a year. No. For 1 year, you go out and you live life with the absolute brick on the throttle, going out doing as many things as possible, find as many different groups as possible, try things that you never thought you'd try but you wanted to with groups. If there's somebody that wants to take you out for dinner, absolutely. But you let them know, I'd love to join you for dinner as best friends, but I'm not going to be in a committed relationship until July 21st, 2025. And they'll be like, what? I'm working on myself. I'm taking a year to work on me. If they are your king or your queen, they're going to be around on that date. But it allows that little bit of separation for doing what I call ABT. And all my clients know what ABT means, and it means always be testing. And when my wife heard me talking about this, she goes like, well, you're not testing anymore, right? I'm like, no, I'm testing. What? And she got a little offended, and I went, no. For the rest of your life, always be testing, because you need to make sure that you're still in alignment with the person that you want to be with. I've had so many friends that were married, and they weren't testing, and all of a sudden, they had drifted so far apart, they didn't know how to get back together. And so you constantly keep testing. Remember while you're dating, all of the above. The other thing the list does is when you get a really good list going, now you take a look at that list and go, wow, yeah, that's a person. Who do I have to be for that person to want to consider me their top prize? Is there anything that I can improve, change, upgrade to make sure that when I meet this person, that I'm everything they're looking for? The other reason that you keep constantly going through and reading all the things that you put into that journal, into that list, is there will be certain parts you put in there that your subconscious goes, yeah, no. And you don't totally black it out, you just give it a scratch and you put in the new answer. And I came up with this not realizing how profound it could be till one of my clients called me up and goes, oh my, met this guy, here's so much on that list, but you'll never guess what happened. And I'm like, sounds like a story, let's talk. Well, she'd been going through her list, and her guy drove a black BMW, tan leather interior, sunroof, shopped at Whole Foods. And so she stopped shopping at the Walmart Superstore, started shopping at Whole Foods. And almost like I'd scripted it, bumped into this guy that looked just like her man description, talked like him, came from where she described. She's like, this can't be real. He asked for her number. She was like, gave it to him. He called her up, asked if he could take her to lunch. She agreed because she's smart like that. She let him know she wasn't going to be in a serious relationship for a while because she was working on her. Thought that was awesome. He swings over to pick her up in a red BMW. Oh, and I missed the part. No. When she was going through her list, just before she met him, she got to black BMW and went, it's red. I don't know why. So she writes in red. Back to the story. He shows up to pick her up in a red BMW, and she's like, oh, this is crazy. Gets in his car. She goes, wow, this is a really nice car. He goes, thanks, I just got it. I used to have a black one. I can't make this stuff up. That's the best part. I'm like, you go, girl. And as far as I know, they are still together, even though she had 6 months left in her wait-to-date protocol. The reason for the other journal, the tribe. How many of you have heard the saying, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most? A lot of people, I go, so when you got rid of that person, or they got rid of you, and you started looking at the people that were in your little group, what happened? Anybody been through a breakup? Been together for a while? And then all of a sudden, you find out who are your friends, who are their friends, and who are nobody's friends. If you're going to start building a tribe, I tell them, I want you building a tribe intentionally. What kind of people do you want in your tribe? And understand, you are the king or the queen of your kingdom. What kind of kingdom are you running? And just because you've known them for a long time, doesn't mean they get to stay in the kingdom. And if they do, doesn't mean that they get to come inside the city walls. And if they're allowed inside the city walls, doesn't mean they get to come to the castle. And just because they're allowed in the castle doesn't mean that they get to come into the great room. And just because they get to come in the great room does not mean they get to sit at the head table. And only one gets to go to the king or queen's chambers. Which brings me to another question that always comes up. But what about sex? And my answer is, well, are you over the age of 18? If the situation arises, you're an adult, if you both go out for a date, timing's right, meal was awesome, the wine was perfect, the moon is out, you two have that look in your eyes like, hey, yeah, life is short, play well. But understand, your kingdom, your castle, has a classroom. That's where all the testing happens. The classroom does have a bedroom. It is not your main chambers. That's part of the classroom. And you're allowed to do whatever you want there, as long as you understand and they understand that's not a direct access to your quarters. Any questions so far? I know I'm tossing a whole bunch of stuff out here, so I want to make sure that. Excuse me?
Did you say the name of all three journals, or have you not got to the third one?
Say the name of all three journals again. It is your person, your tribe, your sources of income. Because so many people forget the idea that we have relationships with money as well. And people are like, well, money doesn't mean anything. I'm like, yeah, but you know, it's kind of like air. If you don't have any, it makes life a little more difficult. And in this day and age, if you have one of these, you have access to a form of income. There's so much crazy, stupid money on these things that, but you have to also look at your relationship with money. The other part with all of these is when you look at the full crossover of all three of those journals, what would you consider that to be? Any?
Manifestation?
Excuse me?
Your manifestation?
Your manifestation? It's a real good analysis of where you are, isn't it? Where do you want to be? What could you work on? If your sources of income include, you've always wanted, say, passive residual income, any chance that you might want to have your partner understanding passive residual income? Would that make it a little bit easier?
Self-employed versus somebody who worked for the government?
Yeah, or if they did work for the government, what kind of severance package or whatever, what type of retirement package have they put together? Does your person like to travel? Are they well traveled? If you hate traveling, you might want to put that in there. One other thing that I make sure that my clients put into their person journal is making sure that they are emotionally available, physically available, and lovingly available. Meaning that you could meet them, but they're still attached to their ex. No. You could meet them and they still haven't gotten over the fact that they are a raging narcissist. Just say it. So you want to make sure that they are available in every way possible. I teach my clients also a bunch of other things to recognize in people. And some of them, I'm going to let you know right now. I know them because that was one of the things I recognized in me. And one I call the push-pull persona. Now, if you take a bullseye, a 5-ring bullseye, a push-pull persona is that really nice person who loves to keep you right at ring 3. Right here. And if you try to venture towards the inside, you get to like ring 2, it's like, oh, if you try and get into ring 1, it's like, oh, well. But if you start hitting ring 4, oh, baby, no, come on, hey, sweetheart. As long as you're in ring 3, that's the comfort zone. That's one of the things that you need to be able to look for so that you can ABT, which is always be testing. If you start recognizing these traits, you're still in the 1-year protocol, the 1-year wait to date, you're not committed in a relationship. Now, another metaphor that I use is a deck of cards. In a deck of cards, how many kings are there? How many queens are there? How many twos are there? If you want to find a king, what's the quickest way to find a king in a deck of cards? Flip, 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 flip. And too many times we get people that are like, at 8, oh, come on, you could be a king. You could do it if you just a little self-improvement. If I've got this class that you could take, I know somebody you could talk to. You are such a good-looking 8. Come on. And you waste 3-4 years on an 8. Or even worse, you get hijacked. They're a jack. Female or male, doesn't matter. It's that, but you're so close. Just that thing that you do. If you would just stop doing that thing, when you're built, flip those cards. If it's not a king, it doesn't go to the trash. It goes on the table. Can a kingdom use a 5? Yeah, everybody needs somebody to trim the bushes and sweep the streets. Now, do you want a 2 in your kingdom? No. He can go somewhere else because that 2 may be somebody else's king or queen. Every narcissist needs a good narcissist. Just saying, but you don't. That's why you have to flip the cards quick. And when you're out in that year, from here on out, every one of you now is certified in ABT. When you're out in public, start watching people through a different lens. What do you like about whether they're married, single, straight, gay, 5 years old, 105 years old? What do you notice about them? What traits about them would you like to have in your person? And start picking and putting them in your journal. And your journal of your person also has to include things you don't want. Why not? You're putting in the order.
Yeah, but I understood that you put what you don't want and you'll get it.
It's how you put it there. If what constitutes a 3? A 3 is going to show up regardless, but you have to be prepared to recognize a 3, and that's okay because you've had enough traction. You put on. Anybody here over the age of 18? Anybody over here had more than 1 or 2 relationships? Something in them, something in the time that you've invested on this planet told you. You can be all of these, but if you got this, you're a jack. If you have this and this, you're a 10. If you got this, 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 and this, you're a 6. A sexy 6, but you're a 6. I put this protocol together so that at the end of the year, my clients know how to test quickly, observe what they want, and realize they don't have to settle for anything other than their king or their queen. Now, going back to the original argument, well, if I put this entire list together and they're 6'2" and I said 5'11", what do I do? Like, well, how many other things are on there? Is it a 90% list? If it's a 90% out of 100, they're the best so far. And speaking of best so far, This is the Achilles heel of so many of my clients because they start doing this stuff and they get really good. And, I'm going to try, I'm packing in as much stuff as possible. But they start going out, and one of the reasons the wait to date portion of this protocol works, how many of you have dated and gone through a dry spell? You can't meet somebody, you can't get their phone number if you pay them. Hey, I'll give you $100. I just want a phone number. Will you please join me for coffee? Oh my God, I'm so lonely. And nobody will talk to you. And then you meet that 6 because you're like, at least you're a sexy 6. And you could be a queen. I mean, hey, you got a heartbeat. You fogged up glass. Yes. And both of you are in the car. You pull up to the stoplight. And somebody jumps out of the car next to you and goes, here's my phone number. My God, you're amazing. And you're like, where the hell were you 2 weeks ago? Because your energy shifted. You weren't that person going, are you the one? Hey, could you be the one? Could you be the one, please? I mean, when that energy shifts, pretty soon, people just show up. And my clients go, I know I'm supposed to wait for another 10 and a half months, but I met this person, and they're amazing! And I'm like, okay, what? Always be testing. 3 weeks later, they're like, they're not the one! I said, yeah, they're the best so far. 4 weeks later, I met somebody else. They're awesome. 2 months later, I can't believe they left me again. I'm like, yeah, they're best so far. And they were. Every single one of my clients working through this, hands down, and I could bring many of them up here, they will tell you, while going through this protocol, their dating game kept climbing. And they kept meeting the best so far. And usually after about 3 best so fars, they catch on to what I'm trying to tell them. Stop with the commitment. Go out and have fun. Test. How often do you test? Always test. And see what fits and what you get out of it. Because the best so far keeps going till you get the best so far. And holy smokehouse, I'm telling you, they're hot. And I've taken some of my clients have such amazing stories. One client from Europe, what she went through at 17, no human should have to go through. Brutally raped, took her virginity, given herpes, left to die in an alleyway. That's how bad this piece of trash used her. It's super attractive. And she finds me at 38, wants to have kids. But every time some guy would approach her, she would shut down, run home, and cry because she was so lonely. And so I used a number of different protocols. We cleaned up what the past was and a few other things that I don't have time to get into because now I've got 9 minutes left. But I had her do this protocol. And at first, her list was about that long. And I had to pull it out of her. I'm like, how tall is he? Well, I really don't care. I went, good, so pick a number. So she did. And I pulled it through. And also, allowed her to give herself permission to enjoy sex. Not just have sex, but enjoy it. And I said, understand, the first guy that you go out with probably isn't your guy. And that's okay, because you're testing, you're opening up. And a couple sessions later, she's like, I was out on this thing and I met this guy, and first time I've ever had an orgasm. 38. First time I was like, yes! I'm so sorry, but yes! And she kept working on her journals, kept working on her day planner, and 6 months later, met her king, to the point where he was 95% of her list. And they're married and have a boy now. Yay. Yes, I was like, you go, girl. So that's why I keep putting this together. And even though it sounds extremely rigid in some places, the results that I'm getting from my clients proves that something out there is working for it. And with the list, I tell them, how many people drive a car? How many have had more than one car in their lifetime? You get one more car for the rest of your life. What do you want? And you can have anything. How many of you would go like, yeah, you know, whatever, as long as it runs, you know, if the door's shut, brakes slow me down, I can get up to 60 eventually. Or would you go, give me a little time. Let me do a little research. Let me test drive. I've driven a couple of vehicles. I know what I like, what I don't like. And you start putting that order together, and most people are like, well, that car doesn't exist. For real? You know how many flipping cars are on this planet? Do you know how many customizers there are out there? The car is out there. When I get people that are building their list and they're like, well, if I get too specific, that person will never exist. I mean, how many flipping people are on this planet? Let's keep it simple. Let's go with 7 billion. Now, if we keep math super simple and only half of them are your gender, now you're down to 3.5 billion, and you only need one. And you're telling me that that one person can't exist? Either you don't really trust what the universe is capable of, or you don't understand, you're just like being too hard on yourself. Now, if you're trying to say that, you know, person is, you know, 8'9", and, you know, you have to keep it kind of real. But if you can keep it kind of real in what you've seen, what you've experienced, and what you actually truly want, it is very capable. Now I've got 5 minutes left. I'm going to throw a couple more things. If you guys have enjoyed any of the stuff that I've shared with you today, please reach out to me. Did everybody get a business card on the way in? At the very end, I've got some stuff to give away. Please reach out to me, because again, if this was everything that I could share with you, y'all have heard that much. I teach all of my clients what I call the trifecta, which is Echo Talk, 3 magic questions, values and criteria elicitation. Because all of those are communication capabilities that can allow you to test in ways that you've never thought of before. Another one that I'm going to give to you is super easy to find on the internet. You can find it on your phone. You can take it with you. Is 36 questions to fall deeper in love. Write that down, and what you're going to find out is basically they're conversational questions that are values and criteria based. And I tell them, don't try to memorize the whole list, because there's actually two lists, 50 questions and 36 questions. Same list, somebody just had to overproduce. Find one or two questions that you really like and bring these up in the conversation. One of my favorites is, if you could have lunch or supper with anybody, alive or dead, real or fictitious, who would it be and why? And these are questions when you're going out and you're being around people and you see somebody that, hey, it's a really good conversation starter. And when you learn how to listen to the responses and know what values and criteria are, you can start finding out, are they a 2? Are they a 6? Are they an 8? Are they a 10 or higher? And I can teach you all of these things. If you guys would like to join me on my weekly Zoom meeting, you can go to my Facebook page. I got 2 minis left. If you go to Facebook, find my name. Every week I post the 3 topics that I'm going to cover. The link for the Zoom is on there. And all the replays are on my YouTube channel under TSWB Helps. That information is on the business card. All the replays are on there. I just did episode 133 last week, and I put it off for 3 years because I didn't think I would have enough content for 3 episodes. So let's get to giving some stuff away. What I have up here is 3 journals. Inside of them, there's a business card on the date for next year's Hypnothoughts Live. 2 of them have a card that says winner. Now, if you look at the business cards you got on the way in, the lowest card, the first 10, I'm sorry.
1 and 10.
Okay, then whatever's left over you got, because it's random. You guys get to pick whichever one you want. So who has a card with 1 on the back side? Come on up, pick out whichever one you want. You have 2, right? So when she's done picking, who's got 3? I'm trying to make sure that we finish within my time frame. There you go, go up and grab one. Who's got 4? Feel like and do I hear 4? Come on, get a 4, get a 4, get a 4. Gonna look at 5. Who's got 5? Come on up, give 5. Who's got 6? Sexy 6. You sexy 6. Who's got a 7 for me? 7 left? Who's got 8? Oh, you got 7? Who's got 8? And that's it. That's all of them. So open up to July of 2025. Who's got winner chicken dinner? Yep. And does it say winner on the backside? Only 2 of them say winner on the backside.
There she is.
There you go. I want to thank you guys so much for coming up and supporting me. I appreciate it big time. Hopefully you got something out of it. And we finished right on time.